hopefully a nice winter scene. I'll wait for more folks. I'm just preparing the canvas. I'll explain it all here in just a moment. See if we can make something out of this. Looks kind of like a disaster. Hopefully we can change it from this mess to something that doesn't look so bad. All right, it should be good. Sit that down there. All right, so welcome. Wow, we got a lot of people coming in. Cool. Let me know if you can hear me. I hope that you can, but I obviously can't hear myself. So if you can't hear me, please let me know in the comments. Say, hey, meathead, we can't hear you. All right. Now, all right, so if you can't hear me, then we're gonna have a problem. Hopefully you guys can. If you can hear me, please let me know in the comments. And that would be greatly helpful. Just going to squeeze out some paint here, because I did not do that ahead of time. That would have made too much sense. Don't want to do that, no. And why would we want to do that ahead of time? No. It's much more fun trying to catch up. All right. Making a mess off the side here. This is actually not too difficult of a painting, even though it probably looks like it from where you're sitting. And hopefully I'm not just here talking to myself. Let's see. Add that. And this one. All right. Oops. All right. Everybody here, hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. Hopefully you can. But nobody's saying anything, so now I'm kind of worried. But nobody's saying anything, so now I'm kind of worried. All right, well, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Just waiting to see. All right, well, gonna have to assume that you can. All right, so let's get started here. Welcome. I'm going to assume that people can hear me. If you can't, then it would be nice if you would let me know. But I don't see any reactions. That's a little worrying. All right. So what we're going to do is the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a Bob Ross 2-inch brush, and we're going to load this bad boy up with some titanium white. I'm just going to tap it into the brush. It won't take a whole lot of paint to do this, but hopefully you can see here, we got it into the brush, and we're going to get started. Now this is probably okay, let me explain what I've done here. That might actually make sense if we do that. I've taken, this is a 16 by 20 canvas, and I took some black gesso and just splotched it all over the place. And then I took some blue acrylic paint and did the same thing. Let that dry, and then I covered it with a thin, even coat of the Bob Ross liquid clear. Now the liquid clear is really difficult to deal with, so once I put it on there, I took a blue shop towel and I wiped it all off as much as I could get it. It's still wet, you'll never get it all off. And this is just the right amount, okay? We're gonna use a very limited palette tonight. So we've got our 2-inch brush with the white, titanium white on it. And just come up here, you can just use the corner of the brush and just do little circular strokes, just little things like that, kind of cloud shapes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, the white is opaque, and so it's gonna kind of cover up some of that, but as it starts to thin out, thanks to that liquid clear, you're gonna get stuff kind of showing through. And it's gonna give you this really cool effect. And once it's done, people are gonna kind of look at it and wonder, how in the world were you able to do that? And it's gonna seem like it was the hardest thing ever. And as you just saw, it's not really all that hard. So hopefully, hello, welcome. If you enjoy the content, please give us a follow, give us some gifts or whatever. That really does help to buy supplies. Now I've taken the same brush and I've put a little Prussian blue. It's a very cold, wintry blue. And you can just kind of mix that in with this, and it'll give you all sorts of cool effects. Just kind of come up through here, just like that. And then you can vary these colors. You can take some more white. Maybe you want it a little more not so see-through. All right, so then you can kind of come up here, kind of mix it together, just like that. And I'm really just using kind of one corner of the brush. Again, welcome. If you've got questions, feel free to ask. I will try and pay attention to the chat as much as I can. All right, we're going to take a little more white onto this. And once again, we're just doing these little circles. I'm going to exaggerate. I'm kind of going like that. And then varying the pressure. And by varying the pressure, you're going to get all sorts of little effects that are going to happen that wouldn't be able to happen if this was a dry canvas. And probably wouldn't even be able to happen with a wet canvas if you were trying to plan it. It's just not going to work. Sometimes it's even best, and I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see, you can hear, but sometimes it's best if you don't even look, if you just kind of go like that. Sometimes you try too hard, and by trying too hard, you're making mistakes. Just let it go. These are clouds, happy little clouds, as Bob used to say. Just let them be happy, let them flow up there, float around, and just kind of have a good time. Just like that. It's not really hard. Just making little circles, little C's. You can kind of see it right here, I think. Just like that. And then if you're painting, I would suggest that you step back from the painting from time to time. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the shares, thank you for the gifts. That really does help people find the channel, helps us grow it, helps us to buy painting supplies, which are never cheap, that's for sure, especially not in this economy. I've taken a little bit of black. I think I'm gonna kind of mix some of that up in here and just kind of darken some of that. Give it a different flavor. Stir this up here. That's really all that we're doing, is just stirring this up. And I'm switch more to the blue now, to the white. Switch a little more to the white. And maybe kind of come into here, I don't know. Maybe something like that. Okay. Just kind of doing all sorts of things. Let these little guys get in here and just have fun. Let the clouds get in there and do their thing. Let the paint work for you. Let your brushes work for you. And you'll be surprised how easy this is if you just let the equipment work for you. Okay, now I think we're at a good spot here. I'm gonna set this brush to the side. I'm gonna take a clean, dry 2-inch brush and make sure it's clean and dry. If you take a brush that's wet with paint thinner, it's gonna mess up because you've got liquid clear on here. And now I'm just gonna kind of blend this together, see where we're at. See if I like it, or if maybe I wanna add some clouds. Well, this is the time to kind of figure all of that out. Boy, it really does look like there's a storm coming. And yet you've got some blues in here. It reminds you of the good weather that you had as we get that bad weather rolling through. And just take these clouds, just kind of fluff them up. I think, where's my beater rack? Just beat the devil out of them. Don't need to clean them yet. I think what I want to do here is I think I'm going to get some more white paint onto my brush. So I take my 2-inch brush once again and just kind of beat the paint in. And you can see here, got lots of paint on that brush. And I want to come in and a couple of these areas put in a little bit thicker. Put the clouds in just a little bit thicker. Maybe they're coming through here kind of like that. I don't know. That looks good enough to me. We'll get some dark paint. This is the black. Beat that into the brush. It's really kind of a color that I made. This is a mountain mixture. We'll just throw this guy in. I don't know, just like that. There you go. And I always like to make my corners dark, so I think we'll put some dark paint maybe up in the corner here, just like this. Just kind of like that. All right. There we go. Now, I think we're kind of cooking here. All right. Take that brush that I was using to blend, give him a little wrap, and then I'm only using the corner of the brush here, and we're just going to kind of blend out. I want to leave the rough parts there, and then the bottoms, I want those to be kind of more subdued, I guess you could say. But we're going to kind of, there we go, just like that. All right, just like that, there we go. Now that one, I'm going to get him there. Just going to blend, 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 kind of fluff it up a little bit. All right, that looks like one wild, mean winter sky. All right, I think we're ready to move on. Okay, So what are we going to do next? Well, we've got our sky. Hopefully nobody's asked any questions. If you got questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to keep track. I think what next, we're going to put a mountain. So we're going to have to decide, where does our little mountain live? So I'm going to take a very small amount of paint. Probably can't even see it. That's how small it is. It's just a little dot. I'm going to try to kind of plan this out a little bit. I think I want the point right here. And I think I want a couple of peaks, maybe one right there, and then kind of one over here. All right, that's about all the planning. I don't really do a whole lot of planning. I just kind of like to let it flow. Let's see what happens. All right, so we're gonna kind of come up here like this. Then it's gonna want another peak right there. All right. Now I'm gonna kind of go a little firm there. We're gonna come up here, and then there, just like that. And these are some rough looking mountains. Okay, got that. And then I don't really want that there. I think you want to be careful. You don't want these, I'm noticing that they're kind of symmetrical, in which case I'll bring this guy up a little bit more. There we go. Make him kind of come down there. And then maybe there's another peak right there. Sure, why not? Okay. Now, get all that paint. There's a lot there, and we're going to scrape it off. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Okay? You don't need all that paint. As a matter of fact, it's kind of bad. There's a lot of paint here, and you can probably hear how hard I'm scraping. If you don't scrape it, you're going to be in trouble. Okay? You're going to get mud. And nobody likes mud, but we've all done it. All right, so scrape that out as much as you can. All right. And once you've got that scraped out, you can take that blender brush that you were using, the 2-inch brush, come up here. Always put it a little bit lower and pull down, just like that. Pull down. Get it? Pull down. And you can already start to see now some of your highlights. And I don't know if you can see those brush strokes, but those kind of help you out. Kind of pull this guy, pull down. There he goes. Pull down. Kind of start to let this little guy, he's a big guy I guess, let this mountain just kind of sit there in the mist. Put your brush up, pull, up and pull down, up and pull down. Kind of come down this way. Be careful that you don't ruin that nice edge. Kind of start to think, where do I want my highlights, my shadows? And you'll be able to lay it out just by doing this. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but from where I'm at, you definitely can. Okay, and if you're painting at home, you'll be able to see it too. All right, now you got this old mountain just sitting there in the mist. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna look up here and see if there's anybody who's asking any questions. If you got questions, please feel free to ask. I will try to answer them. Okay, so now the fun part, and that's the highlights. Get yourself a little roll of paint. I don't know if you can see that on here. All right, With this part, this is the exact opposite of what we just did, okay? Hold your knife down here. Don't put your finger behind the blade. That's gonna be a bad thing if you do that, okay? Come over here. Just let it barely touch and kind of pick it up a little bit. You want it almost like at a 45-degree angle. There should be no touching of the canvas by the blade. And if that's what you're doing, this should be the effect that you're getting, okay? Is that breaking of the paint. That breaking is exactly what we want, okay? Hey, Vanessa, I think I saw Vanessa. How are you doing? Okay. Again, it's the slightest touch ever. Very gentle. This is, take a weak pill, I think. Bob Ross said on one of the shows, take a weak pill before you do this. You don't need to be coming out super strong here, okay? All right, we're gonna get a little more paint, and I'm just here painting, having fun. Pick your knife up. I tend to want to put it down. I'm lazy, but you want to pick it up and just come through here and just get that paint to break. Get that paint to break. You can even kind of come up there. There you go. Get that paint to break. Maybe. Let's see here. Just like that. And I've got a little bit of blue mixed in from when I was doing the sky. And that's good because you don't really need it to be, you don't really need your paint to be perfectly white. It's going to kind of bother your eye a little bit. Okay, we'll kind of come up here. It's been a little sloppy there, but that's all right. Sometimes sloppy is better. Okay, just pull the paint, get yourself some more. Maybe there's a little bit of a doer back in here. And we'll show you how to push that guy back. And then this just comes down, just like that. Okay, just like that. All right, now we're gonna get crazy. We're gonna do the shadows. And for the shadows, I'm gonna mix white with the mountain mixture and some Prussian blue. And you want this color to be able to stand up next to that white and be different. If it stands up here and it's too close, if they're too similar, it's going to be awful. Thank you for the roses, the gifts, all of that stuff really does help. You know, even if it's $1 or whatever, that stuff helps us to buy paint, which is not the cheapest thing in the world. So thank you, I appreciate all that. I'm going to use the little knife, and we're going to take this, and we're just going to kind of give this guy his own little shadow. Okay? Come over there. Come over here. I'm going to purposely go right through that guy. I want to put that peak back. Man, didn't know you had the power to move mountains, but you do. At least here you do. Now, when I get home, I'm not really in charge of much, but here, I got a lot of power. All right, let's put these highlights in. okay? And stand back about 6 feet, okay? You don't want to, sometimes if you're too close, it's not going to look good. So definitely make sure that you take a step back or 5 steps back or something, as the case may be, okay? That way you can kind of see what you've done. All right, we're gonna get a little more paint, a little more white, and just gonna play a little bit here. Don't like the way this came out, so we're gonna kind of, there's a few, I don't like straight lines in my paintings. Kind of bring that up a little more pronounced. Just tend to not like straight lines. Now I know somebody's going to say, well, I saw a straight line in nature, and you know, you're going to be able to send me a photograph or something, but for the most part things just aren't really all that straight. So we're going to try to add a little bit more snow there. I don't know, makes it look better to me. And we're going to come right back up here. Just build this mountain up there, just like that. Okay. Now, because we did that, don't forget, you got to put in your shadow. So I'm going to use the little knife, which actually I, for a long time, did not use this little guy. But I've become a big fan of the small knife lately. I just said I don't like straight lines, and I turned that into a straight line. Good job. Take that small knife. This is the great thing. If you see those little things, mistakes, fix it. Change it up. Don't just live with it. All right, there we go. Good. Now, time for fun. What are we gonna do? It is time. Well, first of all, it looks like it's time to clean a brush. So, I've got odorless paint thinner, and of course you know that that's what we use, is odorless paint thinner. You don't want to use turpentine, and I've had people ask me about Bob Ross brushes using soap and water. Don't use soap and water, it's going to ruin the brush. The brushes will turn into my beard. It's not really good for what we're trying to do here. All right, I'm going to take a clean, dry 2-inch brush, and I'm going to come up here, and we're going to kind of mist some of this. Now, this is a very gentle touch. It may not look like I'm touching it very gently, but I am. Okay, so we're going to turn that into some mistiness, and then you can kind of sweep up, and boy, this is a very, very gentle touch. Otherwise, you're gonna turn all of this to mud. Okay, so we're just gonna tap, 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 tap. Okay, again, very, very gentle, and we're good to go. All right, now, as I'm looking at this, you just saw something. I'm gonna get some more paint on my 2-inch brush that I still have right here. It's still dirty, still dirty. If you guys got questions, feel free to ask. By the way, this painting will be available on our Etsy store here as soon as this is over. You can take some white paint and you can just kind of move it down in front of that mountain. Now, you notice that it's not enough contrast. That's okay. We'll get some dark paint. And maybe there's a big old dark cloud kind of coming down in front of this guy. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Just gonna do little circles again like we were doing earlier. And you can even kind of do this. It's pretty hard to mess this up. But you could mess it up if you get too much into that mountain there, so be careful. Be careful. Maybe, I don't know, maybe comes over here too. Shoot, okay. There he is. Big old cloud starting to come down in front of the mountain. Take your blending brush that we were just using on the mountain and blend, 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 sweep, kind of stir this up. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right. All right, there we go. Now, starting to work into the foreground. I see some bushes right in here. So I'm going to take, this is the Bob Ross round brush. This is a full-size round brush, so it's roundish, kind of, sort of. And it's awesome. Hey, Hobbit. How are you doing? All right, all right. All right, there we go. If you've got questions, feel free to ask. Now I'm going to take this round brush, and this is a 1-inch round brush, so this is the big one. And hey, emo Aladdin, oh man. We're gonna take this and we're just gonna tap, 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 tap some bushes down here, okay? Now, ideally, you kind of want them to be darker at the bottom than the top, but if it's a little bit darker at the top, it's okay. Don't panic. It's not too big of a deal. Get some more paint, and maybe we're gonna come over in here. I don't know, maybe some little bushes down in here. Maybe they kind of come up like that. Okay, very, very easy. And there we go. Okay, got all these little bushy guys down in here. And that gesso that we applied earlier really does kind of help. Okay, set that brush down. Be careful about where you set it. And we'll take another, this is another big round Bob Ross brush. I'm going to put it in some white and blue. Just tap, 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 tap. I'm a little worried about this white because it is really firm and really dry. So we're going to take a smidge, and I do mean just a smidgen, of the liquid white to thin it out. Let's see if that's going to help. There we go. That easy, you can start to get some highlights. If you got questions, feel free to ask. Gifts are always accepted. That always helps us to buy new paints and stuff. And just this easy, you can create snowy bushes. It is a very light touch that I'm using. Very light touch. And I'm varying the pressure just because I want to get different effects. I don't want them to all look the same. And you kind of want some of that dark to stick around. Now we could thin this paint down if we had to with paint thinner, but I would not recommend using paint thinner when you've got liquid clear. The liquid clear and the Bob Ross liquid clear and the paint thinner doesn't it doesn't work too well. How do I have the patience for this? You know, I'm actually one of the most impatient people around. So it's pretty crazy, you know. I guess I've gotten to where what I want is to just enjoy the process, you know. Don't worry about the end result so much. Just enjoy the process. Just enjoy the creation. Just be here now, as George Harrison famously said, the Beatles. And just tap, tap, tap very lightly. And you'll get all these little interesting bushy things happening. And this is a very, very gentle touch that we're using. It's like a whisper almost. Imagine that you're whispering to the trees here. That sounds kind of weird, but I think you know what I mean. And on this, I mean, I'm just barely touching. And try, if you're painting at home, you're watching this back later, just kind of feel the brush, and as it'll bend up. I don't know if you can see it, but it will bend. So you got to kind of learn to feel and kind of come up like this. I'm going to exaggerate a little bit for you. Just touch. And I'm purposely trying to not touch the same area more than once. If you touch it more than once, it's going to turn all the mud on you, and that's not any fun. Okay, maybe we got some bushes right in here. All right, there he is. Just like that. Some more. Maybe this guy comes like that. And there's some little grassy guys down in here. I don't know. Okay, sure. Why not? Why not? All right, I know what I see. I know what I'm seeing. Okay. Now we're going to take a 1-inch brush, and you could do this with a 2-inch brush. You could do it with a fan brush too, which is always fun, but the 1-inch brush is a little faster than the fan, and a little more accurate than the 2-inch brush. The 2-inch, man, he's kind of big, so let's see. I'm going to come up in here. I'm going to start putting in some snow. And as it picks up that blue from the bushes, that's actually kind of nice. That'll give us this sort of a shadow effect. And then pick this part, and you can kind of come like this. Same right in here, just like that. Turn your brush over. There he comes. And gotta make some of those noises. I tend not to make noises too much when I'm painting, but every now and then. Every now and then it's okay. So we come down here. Get this snow to start building in. Just like that. And see that paint that's already on the canvas, it's going to look like there's shadows and all sorts of shenanigans going on here that really, boy, if you try to do this on purpose, it would just not work very well. Okay. Now, let's kind of soften that up a little bit. There we go. Okay. Step back. Always kind of step back and see what you've got. All right. Now, back to our big 1-inch round. Gonna load it with some more color. And, okay. Are you ready for your bravery test? Let's see. And Aladdin, every time it doesn't look the way I want it to, I lose my mind. That's like the hardest, that's really the hardest thing. Remember, if you're working with oils, you can wipe this off. You can take a baby wipe and wipe the canvas off, and a lot of it will come off. It may not all come off, but you'll be amazed at how much will. And then just start over again. Just start over again. All right. Let's see. I hope you're ready for the bravery test, because we're going to put a big old tree. And yep, there he is. That's part of it. Oh no, he's going to go right over our bushes there. And I could hear my wife, if she were here watching me do this, she would be like, what in the world did you just do? You just messed it up. And she might be right in this case. She might be right. Hopefully not. Let's see. Woo! That's a big old tree. Boy, that guy got... He must have taken his vitamins when he was a baby, because, boy, he just really... This old boy just grew and grew and grew. All right. Better stop before he eats up the whole canvas. There we go. Now, Bob is somewhere laughing in delight, and my wife is upset. Because every time he did it on the show, she would get so upset. Why is he putting that stupid tree there? All right. Get some liquid white onto your brush. Put your brush into the white. Tap, tap, tap. Open the bristles up. And by tapping, it's going to do two things. It's going to open the bristles up, but you're also going to get a little ridge of paint up here on the top. I don't know if you can see that. All right. This paint, I wanted to be a little whiter than that. Now suddenly we've got this old tree is up here. This does two things. Besides, first of all, it ticks off my wife. She's probably, if she could be watching this, she'd be just losing her ever-loving mind. But the other thing that it does, and this is actually more important, is that it's going to push the mountain back. So it's going to give it your painting a little more depth and perspective. And just all sorts of little snowy guys are right there. Get some more paint. And this is suddenly now, instead of just one tree, you've got a whole slew of trees right in here, and bushes and all sorts of neat little things that are going on. And you want these dark spaces. Leave those dark spaces. I know when I first had a little bit of success with highlights, I went nuts. I was so excited that it actually worked for once that I covered it all up. So don't do that. Don't do that. You want to leave these dark areas just like that. Okay? There we go. Put some paint there. Okay? Now, I messed up. I should have put some trunks. How are these guys going to stand up? Kind of a problem. So we're going to get some thin oil. which I have a big thing of thin oil back here. And I'm going to mix that thin oil up with some brown and some of that mountain mixture. I'm going to turn this to just like ink. And you can kind of come through here. Now I don't really want to mess up my highlights, so I'm just going to kind of put a few little indications here and there and here. It's not really necessary. I'm going to know that it's not there, but I bet 90% of the people out there who are looking at it aren't going to even think, hey, where are the trunks and stuff? Okay. But I wanted to show you how to do it just in case. All right. Now, back to that big brush. Again, Prussian blue and that mountain mixture. And I want to put some bushes here. So, before I can do that though, you probably saw it. I just barely saw it. I'm going to put some more white. I'm going to have more snow. I'm going to put some more snow right in here because a little bit too much of the underpainting is showing. Just grab some of that and pull. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just pull. It's that easy. It really is that easy. Okay? People look at that and they're going to wonder, how in the world did you get those shadows underneath there? And we're not going to tell them. We're not going to say anything. Just let them wonder. All right. There we go. More snow here. And even though this white is opaque, it's actually transparent enough that some of this dark stuff is going to still show through. And that's going to look really cool. You can take a little bit of the blue if you want. And that's going to really, boy, it's going to look like that is really cold out there. And maybe that's what we want. We want it to look cold. It's getting into this time of the year when cold is going to sound like a good idea. At least where I'm at. I don't know about where you guys are at, but the heat wave is coming. All right, we can put all this down here, just like that. Get some more. Just like that. Now, got to lay it on a little thick, because if too much of that underpainting shows, it's going to give it away. You don't want that. All right? Now, get a lot of that paint on there. Okay. Over here, I don't want a big thing. I just want, I don't know, maybe there's some weeds or bushes or something that are growing out here. And I mean, you could even take your thing, look at that. I mean, that's the easiest way to do bushes in the world. Just like that. There you go. Boom. Bada boom, bada bing. They're done. Come back. Get some of your white paint. Open the bristles up. Now, to me, this needs to actually be dark. That's a problem. So, if you get into a little bit of a pickle, still got some Prussian blue here, and that Prussian blue is really dark. So just come back. Now you could have easily wiped this off if you wanted to. I just don't feel like it. I'm kind of lazy right now. Just do that. There we go. Now, take our highlight. Come back. And start tapping. Now this brush is getting clogged. So if that happens, just dry clean it on a paper towel. I've got a whole bunch right here. And you could come back. We've still got that liquid white into this highlight white. There we go. You get all those little lacy effects. Little lace effects happening. Okay, there we go. Bada boom, bada bing. Get that 1-inch brush again. Get your white. Got a lot of white on here. It's that easy, just flick. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There you go. And suddenly, we're almost finished. How about that? Not bad. Pull that. Now that should probably have a little bit of blue there, I think. Oops, maybe a little too much, but it's all right. Makes it look cold. Better get your parka on. It is a cold day out there. Wherever this is, kind of looks like Alaska or something. There we go. Let's chili this up. Just like that. Okay. And now, the most important part of the painting, if I can find the color, and that is our signature. We gotta sign it. So, get out a little bit of the red. Hopefully y'all are still with me. I know I haven't checked the chat in a minute. Happy snow. Happy snow. Yes. Burrito tomorrow, as always. All right. Anybody that knows me knows I love burritos almost as much as I love tacos. All right, so we're gonna get our thin oil and we're gonna go into our red. I'm gonna sign this bad boy. There we go. And some more red on your brush. Not exactly easy to sign your name with a brush, especially when it's a long one, but there we go. And that is all for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this, painting this interesting winter scene. This will be available in the Etsy store in about 30 minutes or so. So if you're interested in it, feel free to go check it out. Thank you very much. Thanks for following and have a good evening, everybody. Bye-bye.